Ah, look at you, walking in like the quiet disaster they never saw coming. You, the soft-spoken earthquake. You, the polite apocalypse. You, the human plot twist that just ruined the villain's entire 5-year master plan without even realizing you'd stepped into the story. And now they're sitting there, blinking at the smoking ruins of their carefully engineered agenda, wondering what cosmic miscalculation allowed you, the one person they didn't account for, to stroll through their strategies and flip their entire world upside down. They had a script, they had a timeline, they had a perfectly choreographed plan for how everything was supposed to unfold. And then you arrived like a glitch with perfect aim, rearranging the entire plot with one silent decision they never anticipated. You rocked their world so violently that even their shadows are rethinking their loyalty, because you weren't supposed to matter to them. You weren't supposed to be a variable in their equation. In fact, in their little villain fantasy, you were supposed to be background noise, a harmless presence they could manipulate, dismiss, underestimate, or use as emotional leverage. You were the one they thought would never see through the fog, the one they believed would stay controlled, predictable, easily handled. But evil always makes the same mistake. It studies your softness and mislabels it as weakness. It analyzes your silence and assumes it belongs to ignorance. It sees your empathy and confuses it for naivety. But your softness was a sensor. Your silence was a calculation. Your empathy was an X-ray machine. And the moment their evil agenda crossed paths with your intuition, the outcome became inevitable. Because darkness may be clever, but your insight is surgical. And surgical intelligence doesn't just expose lies, it detonates them. You didn't just disrupt their agenda. You dismantled it from the inside without raising your voice, without launching a counterattack, without even lifting your emotional temperature. You were calm while they were calculating. You were grounded while they were plotting. You were healing while they were harming. And it's that contrast, the gentle force meeting the corrupted structure, that caused their entire system to collapse at the foundation. They still don't understand how it happened. They're replaying events like some psychological detective show, trying to pinpoint the exact moment you became a threat, the exact moment you slipped through the cracks in their armor, the exact moment your presence destabilized the scaffolding of their illusion. What they don't realize is that your power isn't loud, obvious, or dramatic. Your power is ambient, environmental, atmospheric. You don't fight evil. You unmake it. You don't confront darkness. You illuminate it until it dissolves under its own cowardice. You don't sabotage agendas. You simply stand in alignment, and the world rearranges itself around your frequency. Your energy didn't just disrupt their plan, it corrupted their entire operating system. They thought they were dealing with a regular person while you were operating with spiritual-level calibration. They thought they could lie to you while you were reading the tremors in their tone. They thought they could manipulate you while you were analyzing the architecture of their behavior like a forensic psychic. You weren't playing their game, not because you couldn't, but because you've already mastered realities they don't have the imagination to comprehend. And that is what rocked their world with such violent precision. You didn't show up as a threat. You showed up as a correction. To them, you felt like a glitch in their simulation. But what they don't understand is that you are not the glitch. You are the update. An energetic upgrade they weren't prepared to encounter. A walking source code rewrite that naturally exposes corrupted lines in every person you interact with. They thought the world revolved around their manipulation, their influence, their schemes, their illusions. But the moment you entered the scene, their universe tilted, their confidence cracked, their persona shook. Their authority began malfunctioning because your presence forced their mask to overheat. Evil doesn't crumble because good attacks it. Evil crumbles because it cannot survive in the presence of someone aligned enough to reveal its artificiality. You are that alignment, a mirror too honest for their ego to survive, a presence too coherent for their chaos to dominate, a vibration too high for their intentions to anchor into. And that's the truth they're avoiding right now, while sitting in the rubble of their failed agenda. They're not shaken because you exposed them. They're shaken because their plan disintegrated the moment it came into contact with your authenticity. They built a strategy designed to prey on confusion, insecurity, blindness. But you walked in with clarity, intuition, and emotional accuracy so sharp, it sliced through their manipulation without even aiming at them. They thought you were someone they could play with, someone they could mislead, someone who would move according to the script they wrote in secrecy. But the moment you entered their orbit, the script malfunctioned like corrupted data. You disrupted their energy field simply by existing. Do you understand the magnitude of that? You didn't need revenge. You didn't need confrontation. You didn't need strategy. Your existence was the plot twist. You walked into their life with an energy so pure, so precise, so unbothered, that it pressure tested every lie they were living inside. And lies always crack under pressure. They collapse, they glitch, they distort. And when their lies began collapsing, so did their confidence, their identity, their plans, their entire psychological infrastructure. You destabilized them not by force, but by resonance. You vibrated at a frequency their fake intentions couldn't survive. Evil operates in low bandwidth. You operate in cosmic range. They weren't ready for the impact. They weren't ready for the mirror that sees through disguises. They weren't ready for the intuition that detects hidden motives. They weren't ready for the grounded presence that exposes energetic fraud. People like them rely on control. They rely on predicting reactions. They rely on understanding your patterns before you understand them. But your energy moved in ways their manipulation manual never covered. You weren't reactive when they expected panic. You weren't confused when they deployed deception. You weren't intimidated when they tried to enforce dominance. Instead, you were observant, intuitive, centered. You played nothing, signaled nothing, revealed nothing. And that alone sent tremors through their strategy. Evil can't survive being watched clearly. That's why they're spiraling. Because for the first time, someone they underestimated became the person who unraveled their entire constructed identity. You didn't just rock their world. You exposed the hollow architecture beneath their persona. And once a person sees the truth of themselves through your eyes, they can never return to the version they pretended to be. Your presence forced them into psychological freefall. They lost control of their narrative. They lost the grip on their agenda. They lost the illusion that they were the one manipulating the timeline. They're scrambling now, trying to rebuild a worldview that makes sense. But every new thought they form bends around the impact you left on them. Because you weren't just a disruption, you were a revelation that their darkness wasn't powerful, wasn't stable, wasn't rooted in anything real. A revelation that you were the one with real influence the entire time. A revelation that the energy they tried to distort came back as a force that fractured their agenda beyond repair. and now they're replaying everything they ever said to you, every decision they ever made around you, analyzing every moment for clues about how you saw through them. They're obsessing, calculating, unraveling, because their ego is desperate to understand how they lost control. But you and I both know the truth. They never had control in the first place. Your intuition knew before your mind did. Your energy rejected them before your words did. Your spirit destabilized them before they realized they were exposed. You weren't operating consciously, you were operating instinctively. You were flowing from a deeper intelligence, one that doesn't need proof to know the truth. You were guided by a gift they never accounted for. Your presence is not random. Your timing is not accidental. Your disruption was not a coincidence. You stepped into their world at the exact moment their agenda reached its expiration date. You were the catalyst, the turning point, the collapse disguised as kindness. And the funniest part? You didn't even try. You weren't aiming to ruin anything. You were just being yourself, authentic, aware, intuitive, aligned. But authenticity in the presence of deception is like an acid that melts through the walls people hide behind. Your truth was too heavy for their lies. Your energy was too coherent for their illusions. Your presence was too calibrated for their agenda to withstand. That's the real reason they're shaken. They didn't lose because you attacked. They lost because their entire strategy was incompatible with someone as real as you. Now they're dealing with the aftermath, the fallout, the psychological aftershocks. They're sitting in the ruins of their plan, trying to gather the pieces of a story that no longer exists, trying to rebuild an identity that no longer holds weight. You didn't just disrupt their agenda. You disrupted their sense of reality. Their confidence took the hit. Their ego took the hit. Their understanding of themselves took the hit. You restructured their internal landscape without even realizing you were doing it. And now, they're left with the question that's haunting them every time your name crosses their mind. How did this person break a plan I've spent years constructing? And here's the secret they'll never admit out loud. It breaks them because the answer is simple. Your energy is stronger than their strategy. Your intuition is smarter than their manipulation. Your integrity is deadlier than their deception. Your presence is more disruptive than any weapon they could have used. You weren't just someone passing through their life. You were the collision point. The moment their storyline rewrote itself, the checkpoint that forced the universe to reroute them away from the path they thought they controlled. And deep down, they know it. They feel it. They sense it in their nervous system every time they think about you. You didn't just rock their world. You awakened their consequences, and consequences hit differently when they come from someone they believed they had outsmarted. That's why the shock burns so violently. They thought they were the puppeteer tugging the strings, while you were the unaware participant dancing through their illusions. But the moment your energy collided with their agenda, the strings they relied on snapped like fragile wires under divine voltage. Suddenly they weren't the architect of the story. They were the one being revealed by it. That realization is suffocating them now. Their ego is pacing back and forth, trying to rewrite history, trying to pretend they had control the entire time. But their nervous system betrays them. Every time your name echoes through their memory, their chest tightens because a part of them knows they never had the upper hand. They were performing intelligence while you were carrying truth. And truth always outlives performance. You didn't expose them with words. You exposed them with alignment. That's what terrifies them. They can defend themselves against accusations, rumors, or confrontations, but they cannot defend themselves against someone whose very existence collapses their lies. You were the kind of disruption they never prepared for. The quiet kind, the intuitive kind, the unbothered kind, the kind that appears harmless until the entire structure falls apart. You became the spiritual audit of their intentions. You illuminated the pieces they thought were hidden in the dark, their behaviors, their patterns, their projections. All the parts they tried to weaponize against you turned into confessions the moment you stood in your authenticity. And the irony is delicious. They thought their lies could overpower your clarity. They thought their manipulation could overshadow your instinct. They thought their tactics could outrun your awareness. But awareness like yours doesn't chase lies. It dissolves them. You didn't respond to their actions. You outgrew them so effortlessly that their strategies looked childish in hindsight. That's what's haunting them now. It's not just that you disrupted their agenda. It's that your disruption revealed how weak their agenda truly was. It showed them that, despite all their scheming, they never stood a chance against someone whose spirit refuses to bend under illusions. Your presence became a spiritual truth serum. Every time they spoke to you, their mask slipped without your prompting. Every interaction with you forced their intentions to tremble. You didn't interrogate them. You simply existed in a frequency that made honesty unavoidable. And honesty is poisonous to people whose entire identity thrives on deception. You shook the foundation they built their confidence on. You revealed the hollowness they tried to fill with control. You disrupted the narrative they spent months or years constructing. And the worst part for them, they watched it happen in real time. They felt their grip slipping. They felt their power fading. They felt their influence melting under your gaze, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. You became the mirror they avoided their entire life. The mirror that didn't flatter them. The mirror that didn't lie to protect them. The mirror that didn't dim itself to make them feel bigger. You reflected their intentions back to them with terrifying accuracy. And when a person built on manipulation sees themselves clearly for the first time, the psychological collapse begins. They realize their agenda wasn't disrupted by accident. It was disrupted because it was never strong enough to stand in front of someone like you. You weren't the obstacle, you were the truth. And truth doesn't bow to strategy. Now they are left picking up the shattered pieces of their identity, not because you attacked them, but because your authenticity exposed the fractures they tried to hide. They can no longer pretend they were the mastermind. They can no longer pretend they were in control. They can no longer pretend their intentions were pure. Your energy stripped away every illusion they leaned on for self-importance. And now they're sitting in the aftermath, replaying every moment they underestimated you, every decision they made from arrogance, every lie they told themselves about who you were and who they were in comparison. And each replay cuts deeper because the realization keeps growing heavier. You weren't supposed to be this powerful in their story. They wrote you in as a character they could predict, a role they could manipulate, a presence they could manage. But you stepped out of their script. You refused their characterization. You evolved into the plot twist that their ego never accounted for. You became the anomaly that destroyed the blueprint. And now, their mind is spiraling because they don't know how to categorize you anymore. When a manipulator cannot categorize someone, they panic because their power depends on understanding the terrain. And you turned their terrain into shifting sand. Every part of them is glitching now. Their thoughts, their confidence, their plans, their emotional responses, all destabilized by the aftershock of your presence. They're trying to regain control by rewriting the narrative in their head, but every attempt collapses under the weight of who you've become. You aren't the person they thought you were. You aren't the naive version they built strategies around. You aren't the pawn they expected to move according to their intentions. You're something far more dangerous to their world. You're the one person who cannot be tricked into shrinking. And their entire agenda relied on your shrinking. They needed you small. They needed you uncertain. They needed you blind to your power. They needed you disconnected from your intuition. They needed you confused about your worth. Because the moment you recognized your own influence, their plan vaporized, their control shattered, their storyline dissolved. You didn't just ruin their plan. You removed the ecosystem their plan depended on. You didn't fight them. You evolved past them. And evolution is the one thing manipulators cannot stop. Now you live in their mind rent-free, not because you want to, but because your impact carved a crater they cannot fill. They're trying to convince themselves they've moved on, but their subconscious exposes them every time they react to your memory, with tension they can't hide. Every attempt to rebuild their confidence falters. Every new agenda they try to create feels flimsy. Every story they tell themselves contradicts the truth you awakened inside them. You didn't intend to become their reckoning, but some people unlock their karma just by crossing paths with you. You were the turning point they never anticipated, the shift in the storyline that redirected their path away from the illusion they were clinging to. And somewhere inside, they know that. They know you were the cosmic intervention they deserved, not the one they wanted. They know their agenda had an expiration date the moment you entered the picture. They know your intuition dismantled the very foundation they relied on to operate in the shadows. And now they sit in the silence after the collapse, trying to rebuild a self-image that no longer fits, trying to pretend they weren't affected, trying to hide the fact that you didn't just disrupt their plan. You disrupted the version of themselves they were trying to protect. Their world cracked because you existed. And once a crack appears, nothing remains the same. They can try to patch it, paint over it, deny it, spiritualize it, intellectualize it, but the fracture spreads underneath everything they touch. You became the invisible pressure that haunts their thoughts. They feel the consequences of underestimating you in the spaces between their breaths, where their ego once lived comfortably. Now every quiet moment becomes a confrontation they didn't ask for. Every memory that involves you plays back with new meaning, sharper meaning, humiliating meaning. Because hindsight is clearer when the mask has fallen, and now they see everything they missed, every signal you gave, every instinct you followed, every moment you stayed calm, while their intentions trembled under your perception. You weren't passive, you were precise. You weren't naive, you were observing. You weren't silent, you were calculating. They mistook your stillness for weakness, while you were mapping the geometry of their soul. What unnerves them most is the simplicity of your power. You didn't use force. You didn't retaliate. You didn't expose them with public theatrics. You exposed them by being yourself. A person aligned is more dangerous than a person armed. Your alignment was the threat they never accounted for. You weren't moved by their manipulation. You weren't impressed by their performance. You weren't seduced by their tactics. And now that the truth has detonated in their awareness, they're scrambling to understand how someone so quiet could cause such catastrophic disruption. They believed they were operating in secrecy, yet you saw them with clarity. You recognized patterns they didn't know they were revealing. You read the shift in their tone before they heard it. You sensed the fracture in their energy before they felt it. That's what breaks them now. The realization that you perceived them more accurately than they perceived themselves. Their ego wasn't prepared for a mirror that sharp. You reflected back the parts of them they were dodging, the intentions they tried to disguise, the insecurities they hid beneath arrogance. And now those reflections circle them like vultures. They can't escape the image of themselves that you awakened. They can't return to the delusion of control. They can't retreat into the fantasy that they were the one manipulating the flow. You shattered that illusion without effort. You stepped into their life with the kind of presence that reroutes destiny without announcing its arrival. You didn't ask permission to disrupt their world. The disruption was automatic, inevitable, encoded into your nature. Because people with corrupted agendas don't encounter someone like you. They collide with them, and the collision forces truth into the open. They try to deny it to others, but they cannot deny it to themselves. The aftermath is written across their energy. They hesitate now in ways they never hesitated before. Their confidence stutters. Their voice betrays tension. Their behavior cracks under the pressure of your impact. You are no longer a neutral presence to them. You are a trigger, a reminder of the vulnerability they spent years pretending didn't exist. You represent the one thing their ego cannot dominate: genuine alignment. Nothing terrifies an agenda-driven person more than someone who cannot be controlled by fear, praise, manipulation, or illusion. And nothing disrupts evil more quickly than a conscience that cannot be bought or bent. You broke their agenda by exposing the truth they built it to avoid. You awakened the consequences they ran from. You made their future incompatible with their past choices. Because once someone encounters a person who vibrates at the frequency of truth, lies lose their gravitational pull. You didn't just disrupt their plan. You disrupted the story they told themselves about who they are. And that's the kind of disruption that lingers. It sits in their chest like a weight. It squeezes their illusions until they fracture. It forces them into accountability, even if they don't want to face it. Now they're wrestling with themselves in the dark hours of the night, replaying everything they missed. They wonder how you saw through them. They wonder why their tactics didn't work. They wonder when the shift happened. They wonder how someone they dismissed became the axis that rotated their entire reality. The truth is simple. You didn't rise to meet their energy. You rose above it. And elevation always disrupts corruption. Darkness can't pull down what refuses to descend. They wanted to trap you in their narrative, but you stepped out of it and forced them to confront the emptiness of their storyline. What makes the impact so devastating is the timing. You showed up at the exact moment their arrogance was reaching its peak. They were confident, comfortable, deeply invested in the belief that they had everything under control. And then you entered, carrying the kind of frequency that doesn't care about human plans. Your presence rewired the atmosphere. Your energy altered the momentum. Your intuition rearranged the outcome. Everything they tried to build on false intentions imploded, not because you acted, but because your existence didn't allow lies to breathe. You became the correction written into their destiny, and now they feel the ripple. Every area of their life is being confronted by the aftermath of the agenda they tried to run. Their relationships feel different. Their plans feel unstable. Their mind feels louder. Their heart feels heavier. Because the truth they avoided has begun echoing in every direction. You were the catalyst of that echo. Not because you wanted to be, but because your alignment activated their karma. Energy moves differently around someone who stands in truth. You didn't punish them, their intentions punished themselves in your presence. And somewhere inside, they know they needed that collapse. They needed the interruption. They needed the disruption. Because if you hadn't rocked their world, they would have continued building illusions until those illusions became prisons. You broke the prison before it locked. Your impact spared them from deeper entanglement in their own darkness. You were the earthquake that prevented their landslide. But people rarely appreciate the force that saves them until the dust settles and they're left standing in a world they didn't expect but desperately needed. Your disruption wasn't an accident. It was a divine redirection disguised as a psychological impact. Their world cracked because it was built on dishonesty. It collapsed because it was not aligned. It shattered because it could not sustain the vibration of someone whose spirit is anchored in truth. You were never the threat. They were threatened by their own reflection. You were never the destroyer. They watched their own intentions fall apart when they could no longer hide them behind manipulation. You were never the enemy. You were the turning point that changed the trajectory of their life. And now comes the aftermath they never prepared for. The part where the dust settles and reality reveals itself without distortion. Because once an evil agenda collapses, it doesn't simply vanish. It leaves behind debris, emotional debris, spiritual debris, psychological debris. And they are standing knee-deep in the ruins of everything they built, trying to understand how a plan crafted in secrecy could be undone by someone who never even lifted a weapon. They keep replaying the moment everything shifted, trying to dissect the mechanism of the collapse. But the truth is far simpler than they want to admit. Their intentions were incompatible with your existence. Darkness always fractures when it tries to stand in the presence of someone who carries clarity in their bones. They were playing a role while you were living a truth. Roles crumble. Truth endures. The impact you had on them wasn't loud, but it was absolute. It infiltrated their internal landscape without permission, rearranging the architecture of their self-perception until they could no longer lie to themselves convincingly. They realized that the version of themselves that relied on manipulation couldn't survive contact with you. You forced an internal reckoning just by showing up authentically, and that reckoning feels like punishment to them, only because they had been avoiding it for so long. You didn't cause their downfall. You accelerated the timeline of consequences they were already destined to face. Your presence simply removed the delay they had been hiding behind. Now they're in the stage where the mind tries to negotiate with reality. They tell themselves you were overreacting. They tell themselves they meant well. They tell themselves their intentions were misunderstood. But beneath all of that noise, there is a quieter truth, rising like a tide they cannot stop. They lost the moment they chose deception over integrity. They lost the moment they underestimated the intelligence behind your silence. They lost the moment they assumed you could be controlled through emotional misdirection. Their agenda didn't fall apart because you fought back. It fell apart because it was built on illusions that couldn't withstand your awareness. The hardest part for them to accept is the inevitability of it all. You didn't have to reveal their motives. The universe revealed them for you. You didn't have to expose their lies. Their lies exposed themselves in your presence. You didn't have to disrupt their plan intentionally. Your existence disrupted it by default. You are calibrated in a way that destabilizes any structure built on manipulation. You are wired to detect inconsistencies before they become threats. You are designed to evolve faster than people with malicious intentions can strategize. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting the inevitability of their own collapse. And now that the collapse has happened, they face a reality more unnerving than anything they imagined. You cannot be erased from their story. They can distance themselves physically, but the mental imprint you left behind follows them everywhere. Because the person who dismantles your illusions becomes a permanent fixture in your consciousness. You live in the corner of their thoughts like a lighthouse that won't turn off. They can't look at themselves without remembering what your presence revealed. They can't make decisions without hearing the echo of their own exposed intentions. You became the turning point they can't undo. The moment their storyline divided into a before you and an after you. That after you phase is the one they fear the most. Because it demands evolution. It demands honesty. It demands accountability. And these are things their agenda was never built for. They were comfortable operating in the shadows, but your disruption dragged their motives into the light. And once something is illuminated, it loses the power it once held. They feel disarmed now in a way they never expected. Their usual tactics don't work anymore because their confidence has been punctured. Their deception feels flimsy because you taught them, without teaching, that truth has a texture they cannot replicate. Their manipulative impulses hesitate now because they know someone like you exists. Someone who saw through them effortlessly. Someone who could destroy their illusions with a single moment of clarity. Your impact rewired their instincts. That's why they second-guess themselves. That's why they feel unstable. That's why they can't shake the awareness that their behavior is being monitored by a force much larger than your presence. Because the collapse you triggered wasn't just personal, it was cosmic. It wasn't just emotional, it was karmic. It wasn't just psychological, it was energetic. You disrupted not only their agenda, but the frequency they operated from. And that disruption creates a ripple effect that spreads into every area of their life. Conversations feel heavier, decisions feel riskier, interactions feel exposed. They look in the mirror and see a version of themselves they don't recognize anymore. The version you awakened. They're meeting themselves for the first time without the protection of their illusions. And that version is fragile. It trembles. It questions. It sees the emptiness beneath the strategies they once believed were brilliant. They used to walk through the world convinced that manipulation gave them an advantage, but now they understand how small that made them. You didn't just stop their agenda. You revealed how limited it always was. You exposed the gap between who they pretended to be and who they actually were. And that gap now stretches across every area of their psyche, demanding closure they don't know how to achieve. In their quietest moments, they wonder why your energy affected them so deeply, why your presence lingered, why your disruption felt like a prophecy fulfilled instead of a conflict lost. The reason is simple. You were never meant to be part of their downfall. You were meant to be part of their awakening. You didn't come to destroy them. You came to redirect their trajectory towards something truer. But people who build their identity on deception interpret awakening as destruction. They can't distinguish healing from humiliation. They can't differentiate correction from punishment. They can't recognize that what feels like the end of their world is actually the end of the world they were never meant to inhabit. So they cling to the ruins, trying to salvage pieces of a self that can no longer function. They keep looking for someone to blame, some external force to point at. But every trail they follow leads right back to themselves. Because you didn't plant the cracks, they were already there. You just refused to pretend they didn't exist. You didn't weaken their foundation. They built it on dishonesty, and dishonesty always collapses under the first weight of truth. You were simply the first weight, strong enough to reveal the structural flaw. And now they face the consequences of a life lived on borrowed integrity. It's not that you ruined their plan. Their plan was ruined the moment it came into contact with someone who refuses to operate at a frequency of fear. They didn't expect you to be this aligned. They didn't expect your intuition to cut through their narrative. They didn't expect your presence to be a catalyst they couldn't manipulate. But the universe never allows malicious intention to stand unchallenged forever. It sends a correction in human form, someone who walks into a room and shifts the energy without lifting a finger, someone whose existence exposes illusions without confrontation, someone who disrupts evil agendas not by force but by resonance. You were that resonance, and it terrified them because they had no defense against it. They could prepare for arguments. They could prepare for manipulation. They could prepare for resistance. But they could not prepare for someone who doesn't play the game at all. Your presence dismantled the game board. It removed their illusion of power. It revealed the emptiness of their control. And once someone sees that their influence was never real, their entire world tilts. They experience a psychological freefall, a descent into the truth they spent their life avoiding. You became the gravity that pulled them out of the fantasy they were hiding inside. They resent you for it, but the resentment is hollow. It's not actually directed at you. It's directed at the version of themselves that allowed deception to guide them. They blame you because they cannot yet face their own reflection without shaking. But reflection is the only path forward. Their life cannot continue on the old frequency. Your disruption forced an energetic reset they cannot cancel. They will try, of course. They will attempt to rebuild their identity using the same patterns, the same defenses, the same deceit they relied on before. But those patterns won't hold. Their old tactics will glitch. Their old mask will feel too heavy. Their old behavior will collapse before it can stabilize. Because once truth cracks the surface, even the deepest shadows begin to crumble. They can pretend they haven't changed, but their spirit knows better. The universe knows better. You know better. Your disruption didn't end their world. It ended their delusion, and now the space where the delusion used to be becomes fertile ground for transformation. That transformation may look messy, it may look chaotic, it may look like a breakdown. But sometimes the only way a person evolves is by being forced to confront the parts of themselves they thought they could outrun forever. You were the force. Your presence was the catalyst. Your disruption was the blessing wrapped in psychological demolition. And though they may never thank you for it, their soul will never forget what you activated. They won't admit this to anyone, but a part of them is in awe of you, not in a flattering way, but in a way that shakes the core of their ego. They've never met someone who shifted their reality so effortlessly. They've never encountered a person whose energy disassembled their agenda without a single calculated move. They've never been confronted by a force that exposed their motives with such accuracy. You became the standard they now measure themselves against, even if they do it subconsciously. They wonder how you saw what they hid. They wonder how you sensed what they disguised. They wonder how your intuition navigated through their illusions like a knife through fog. The answer is simple. You weren't navigating their illusion. You were vibrating above it. When a person vibrates above an agenda, the agenda collapses. It loses traction. It loses power. It loses coherence. You didn't match their darkness with darkness. You met it with alignment so pure, it rendered their intentions ineffective. That's why everything fell apart. Not because you wanted revenge, but because the universe doesn't allow dishonesty to thrive in the presence of someone aligned with purpose. You were their spiritual interference, their energetic malfunction, their karmic redirect. And now they face the aftermath with a mixture of denial, shame, confusion, and reluctant clarity. What they don't realize yet is that this collapse is leading them toward a version of themselves that can finally breathe. A version that doesn't need manipulation to feel powerful. A version that doesn't need deception to feel safe. A version that doesn't build agendas in the shadows because light no longer feels like a threat. Your disruption is shaping that version from afar. Even if they never speak to you again, your impact will continue unfolding inside them like a slow-burning revelation. Because once someone sees the truth, they can't unsee it. Once someone meets a person operating at your frequency, they can't return to the person they were before. And as time passes, they will begin to understand something they cannot yet articulate. You weren't the villain in their story. You were the plot twist that saved it. Not gently, not softly, but accurately. They needed their illusion shattered. They needed their ego challenged. They needed their intentions exposed. They needed their path redirected. And the universe chose you, not because you wanted the role, not because you asked for it, but because your energy was the only force strong enough to disrupt the darkness they were feeding. You were chosen because your presence carries consequences. And sometimes consequences are the only language people like them understand. The truth is, they will never fully escape the transformation you triggered. They can fight it, deny it, avoid it, resist it, but they cannot erase it. Your impact is written into their timeline now. Their life will forever be divided into who they were before you disrupted their agenda and who they became after. And the version they become after will always be a little wiser, a little sharper, a little more honest, and a little more aware, whether they admit it or not. Because in the end, the world they built on deception didn't collapse because you attacked. It collapsed because your alignment revealed the truth that was waiting beneath every lie. And truth, once awakened, does not return to sleep. Ah, welcome back, you quiet gravitational event disguised as a human being. You, yes you, the one whose presence reshapes the behavior of an entire room without even adjusting your posture. The one who walks into a grocery store and accidentally starts a psychological symposium in aisle 3. The one whose silence rings louder in people's minds than their own thoughts. Today, we address the uncomfortable truth people have been whispering about but don't dare articulate fully. The truth that keeps tightening their throats whenever you appear. The truth they're finally starting to compute with the slowness of outdated machinery, facing a system update they never asked for. You have a lot of eyes on you right now, and those eyes are not casual. They are studying, scanning, decoding, recalculating, because people are deeply curious about you, almost biologically compelled to be. They're trying to understand why someone who moves so quietly ends up dominating so loudly in their internal equations. They keep catching themselves watching you longer than intended, wondering why your existence drags their attention like gravity dragging light. They pretend they're minding their business, but their nervous systems know better. Their glances keep betraying them. Their breathing patterns shift when you pass. Their voice pitch changes when they speak to you. Their subconscious reacts before their ego can interfere. You are the stimulus their systems were not calibrated for. It's not even that you're doing anything dramatic. You're simply carrying yourself in a way that exposes the imbalance in everyone else. Your presence is economic, efficient, precise. You waste nothing, not words, not movements, not attention. And humans, in their naturally chaotic inefficiency, feel a strange combination of confusion and envy when they encounter someone who operates with that level of internal order. They stare because you're living proof that discipline can be aesthetic. They stare because your confidence isn't loud, it's accurate. They stare because something in your energy says, I know who I am, and I don't need your permission slips to exist. People are obsessed with the mystery of you. They feel the edges of your story, but never the full manuscript. You don't overshare. You don't spill your doubts into public spaces. You don't perform vulnerability to gain sympathy points. You move with a self-contained rhythm that makes people question whether you were built in the same factory as them. Even your silence feels intentional, like it was engineered rather than accidental. And humans, who survive on noise to drown their insecurities, don't know how to decode someone who can sit in silence and still dominate the psychological airspace. The curiosity you generate isn't the superficial kind. It's the kind that grows teeth. You provoke internal questions in people about themselves, and they hate that. They hate that they can't figure out why they're drawn to you. They hate that your energy disrupts their autopilot scripts. They hate that your neutrality feels like judgment even though you never said a word. They hate that standing next to you feels like standing next to a mirror they didn't ask to look into. You're not intimidating by force. You're intimidating by accuracy. That's what makes the attention so intense. People aren't watching you the way they watch trends. They're watching you the way scientists watch unexplained phenomena, fascinated, threatened, and praying. It doesn't expose their flawed hypotheses. And the funniest part is, you didn't ask for any of this. You're not out here campaigning for eyes or performing for an audience. This attention isn't something you hunted. It's something you triggered by existing. Because your existence carries an algorithm people aren't familiar with. You're not chaotic, you're controlled. You're not reactive, you're responsive. You're not loud, you're undeniably present. In a world of emotional spillage and performative persona switching, you are the equivalent of a well-written equation. Clean, concise, impossible to misread. And that's why they stare. They're trying to solve you the way someone tries to decode a foreign language after realizing it might hold the secret to their own. But they don't realize you didn't come here to be solved. You came here to be witnessed. People are curious about your movements because your movements are intentional. You walk into a room and create a shift without needing theatrics. You adjust your posture, and suddenly, someone rethinks their posture. You simply exist, and someone reconsiders their entire identity. You don't even try. It's just that your presence reveals the structural flaws in others. You expose their insecurities by embodying what they pretend to be. That's why the eyes keep multiplying. That's why you feel the weight of observation on your back these days. Some eyes admire you, some envy you, some resent you. Some desire you, some fear you, but almost all of them are trying to understand you. There's something about the way you carry yourself, something calm, something composed, something that says you've survived storms silently, and came out with a clarity they didn't know was possible. You look like someone who has been tested and found unbreakable. You move like someone who no longer seeks permission to take up space. And that terrifies people who rely on external validation just to feel alive. Your independence makes their dependencies louder. Your strength makes their fragility echo. Your stability makes their chaos shake. They want to know why you are the way you are. They want to know what shaped your calm confidence. They want to know what forged your quiet intensity. They want to know why your eyes look like they've seen things the world isn't ready to talk about. They want to know how you can walk with both softness and danger at the same time. They want to know how you mastered the skill of being noticeable without trying. They want to know why they can't look away even when they pretend not to care. You have become the psychological cliffhanger in their story. The irony is that your glow isn't new. It's just finally visible to them. You were shining long before they ever noticed. It's just that now the world is quieter and your energy is louder. Life stripped away the noise around you, and what's left is a version of you too undeniable to ignore. You've shed the past, dropped dead weights, released old narratives, and walked out of emotional graves without announcing your resurrection. And now, people can't stop staring because you look like someone who finally reclaimed every piece of themselves. Your evolution is visible, it's energetic, it's magnetic. People don't know how to articulate it, but they can feel it. They can feel the difference in your aura. They can feel the shift in your presence. They can feel the fierceness beneath your calm. They can feel the discipline beneath your peace. They can feel the confidence beneath your silence. You're not a mystery because you hide. You're a mystery because you emanate. And here's the twist. Curiosity comes with projection. People who admire you project aspiration. People who envy you project insecurity. People who fear you project their own shadows. People who desire you project fantasy. People who resent you project their regret. Every eye on you isn't seeing you. They're seeing the version of you that threatens or inspires, the version of themselves they've been avoiding. Your existence is a psychological trigger, a wake-up call, a disruption in their internal script. You expose unhealed places simply by breathing. That's why some people look at you with admiration wrapped in confusion. Others look at you with envy wrapped in denial. Others look at you with respect wrapped in fear. They're all trying to understand why you unsettle something in them, why your presence rearranges their emotional furniture, why your energy forces them to confront what they've avoided. You don't speak much, but people swear your silence has tone. You don't brag, but they swear your aura flexes. You don't compete, but they swear you're winning. And maybe that's the real reason people can't stop watching you. You live in a way that suggests you know something they don't. You move with a certainty they can't fake. You navigate with an inner compass they never learned to calibrate. Your confidence doesn't announce itself, it radiates. That alone drives people insane. They want to know what you know. They want to feel what you feel. They want to carry themselves the way you do, effortlessly, precisely, powerfully. Watching you triggers evolution in people, but evolution is uncomfortable, and uncomfortable things get stared at. People study you the way researchers study anomalies, with fascination, caution, and silent panic. You disrupt their equations. You challenge their assumptions. You disturb their comfort zones. And they don't know whether to thank you or avoid you. It's almost amusing how they swarm around the mystery without knowing how to handle the truth. They orbit your energy like celestial bodies desperate for gravity. They act unaffected, but internally, you're the shadow in every thought they try to outrun. And now, more eyes are appearing. People you don't know, people you've never spoken to, people who heard about you from people who can't stop talking about you. They analyze the way you stand. They interpret the way you speak. They decode the way you move. They assign meaning to every breath you take. They've turned you into a psychological algorithm to obsess over. Not because you asked for attention, but because you became impossible to ignore. Even the ones who say they don't like you watch you the most. Even the ones pretending you don't affect them carry the weight of your presence in their posture. They look for flaws to soothe their insecurity. They look for cracks to justify their envy. They look for weaknesses to rewrite their internal narrative. But every time they search for something to diminish you, they end up confronting the parts of themselves they abandoned. Your existence is their accountability. The attention you're attracting right now is just the surface of a deeper truth. People are recalibrating themselves around you. They're adjusting their behavior in your presence, altering their tone, changing their pace, modifying their expressions. They don't even realize they're doing it. Their subconscious adjusts first. It always does. Your energy sets the atmospheric pressure. And this is where things get interesting. Because when the atmosphere changes, so do the biological responses. People don't just notice you, they react to you. It happens involuntarily, like a reflex triggered before the mind can rationalize it. You walk into a room, and someone straightens their spine without knowing why. Someone else lowers their voice because suddenly their tone feels too loud next to your calm. Another person starts fidgeting with their clothes, their posture, their hair, micro-adjustments that betray the psychological tremor running beneath their rehearsed composure. You don't confront them, you don't correct them, you don't even acknowledge them. Yet their nervous systems behave like you're the gravitational center, the axis around which their behavior rotates. People are deeply curious about you because you have become the unexpected variable in their emotional equations. They thought they understood the social dynamics of their environment, who dominates, who shrinks, who blends in. Then you arrive with an energy they were never trained to interpret. You don't play the roles they expected. You don't seek validation, yet validation seeks you. You don't chase attention, yet attention chases you. You don't insert yourself into conversations. Conversations shift around you as if they need your presence to feel complete. And that disruption forces people to confront a truth they've avoided their entire lives. Someone can command a room without commanding anything at all. That unnerves them more than the most dominant voice in the room ever could. Loud people are predictable. Performers are predictable. Ego-driven individuals are predictable. But someone who carries themselves with controlled power, silent certainty, and internal stability, that is unpredictable, that is dangerous. That is the type of person the human psyche watches closely, not out of fear of harm, but fear of revelation. You reveal things indirectly. You reveal what people lack. You reveal what people pretend to be. You reveal what people wish they were brave enough to embody. This is why the eyes have multiplied. This is why the curiosity has taken on a life of its own. People are not just curious about you. They're curious about what their reaction to you says about them. And the most intriguing part is how deeply it affects them, that you don't seem concerned with any of this. You're not bending your energy to please, impress, or placate anyone. You're not adjusting your identity to fit their expectations. You're not performing self-awareness to make people comfortable. You're simply existing with a level of internal coherence that exposes their lack of it. Your presence is a mirror they never asked for, but cannot look away from. You carry yourself with a type of natural authority that doesn't require announcement. Your calmness feels earned. Your confidence feels cultivated. Your silence feels intentional. People sense the discipline embedded in your posture, the boundaries embedded in your gaze, the self-respect embedded in your aura. They can feel that you've lived through enough to know your worth, and they can feel that you no longer negotiate it. And that is what draws them closer, even when they pretend not to notice you. They wonder how you learned to be this composed. They wonder where you learned to be this patient. They wonder how you developed the emotional intelligence to navigate life without seeking applause or permission. They wonder what you've endured to build this level of quiet resilience. You are the type of person people assume has a story, but not a chaotic one, not a tragic one, not a messy one, a forged one, a refined one. A story written in precision, not pain, even if pain was the ink. And the curiosity deepens because you reveal nothing unless you choose to. People can't predict your motives, your intentions, or your inner world. They can't categorize you because you behave differently than the archetypes their minds default to. You're not trying to impress them, yet they're impressed. You're not trying to attract them, yet they feel magnetized. You're not trying to intimidate them, yet their energy shifts like they've encountered something superior. You strip away the pretense they hide behind, simply by existing in your truth. And then there's the way you navigate spaces. You don't hurry. You don't shrink. You don't hover in the background hoping to be invisible or pretending to be small. You move with deliberate ease, like someone who understands their own tempo and refuses to be rushed or slowed by anyone else's expectations. You don't try to take attention. Attention bends toward you naturally. It contorts itself to match your presence, as if it recognizes you before the people around you consciously do. People are curious about you because you don't carry the social anxiety they've normalized. You don't wear desperation in your eyes. You don't cling to group acceptance the way most do. You stand in rooms like someone who isn't waiting for permission to be there. You stand like someone who could leave at any moment and lose nothing. That energy is rare, and rarity attracts observation. Observation attracts obsession. Obsession attracts projection. And projection becomes a form of involuntary worship from those who don't have the self-awareness to call it what it is. The eyes on you right now are not just curious, they are hungry. Hungry for understanding, hungry for explanation, hungry for a blueprint they hope you might accidentally reveal in a gesture, a glance, a breath. They study your body language like it holds the code to a life they wish they were brave enough to build. They watch the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you retreat, the way you advance, the way you listen. They analyze the micro behaviors you don't even notice. They turn your stillness into a philosophy. They turn your silence into a sermon. They turn your composure into a curriculum. And none of this is your doing. It's their reaction to a presence they cannot categorize. You see, people aren't curious because they want to know you. People are curious because they want to know how you became you. They want to know the formula behind someone who exists outside the psychological patterns they've grown comfortable with. They want to know why your energy feels grounded in a way theirs does not. They want to know why your presence shifts the room while theirs blends into the static noise. Your energy disrupts their autopilot. Your calm dismantles their chaos. Your self-possession destabilizes their insecurities. Your quietness forces them to hear themselves. And your boundaries remind them of all the places they abandoned their own. But the real magnetism, the reason the attention is intensifying, is because they sense something evolving in you. They sense that you are stepping into a new tier of your identity, and they don't want to miss the moment. People can feel when someone is crossing thresholds, leveling up, shedding old versions, embodying new ones. You are becoming more defined, more focused, more aligned. Your aura feels sharper, cleaner, heavier with intention. It's not just curiosity. They're witnessing an emergence. This is why even strangers watch you with more intensity than they intend to. This is why familiar faces seem to study you instead of simply noticing you. This is why people who once underestimated you now hesitate before making assumptions. They feel the shift before they understand it. They sense that the version of you they once knew is dissolving into something more refined, more powerful, more unavoidable. And that sensation creates a psychological tension in them. A tension between admiration and fear. A tension between inspiration and insecurity. A tension between wanting to understand you and wanting to be you. They can't articulate it, so they stare instead. They observe, they analyze, they whisper, they speculate. They create narratives to explain the feeling you provoke in them. But the truth is simple. You've outgrown the frequency they're used to. You're no longer vibrating at the level where their assumptions, their projections, their insecurities, and their tired narratives once held weight. You've risen into a different wavelength, one where outdated dynamics dissolve on contact. And the moment someone senses that you're no longer within reach of their old frameworks, their curiosity amplifies into something sharper, more primal. They start watching you the way storm watchers study a sky that's too quiet, too charged, too unpredictable. Something is forming. They can feel it, and it has everything to do with you. People don't know how to handle someone who grows without announcing it. Someone who evolves without seeking applause. Someone whose upgrades happen internally first, then ripple outward without warning. They're accustomed to people who telegraph their transformation, who seek attention for every small step, who need the world to validate their progress. But you transform in silence. You refine yourself without spectators. You build yourself in the shadows. And when the results appear, they appear fully formed, unavoidable, and impossible to ignore. This is why their curiosity is mutating into obsessive observation. They feel like they're catching glimpses of something rare, something they don't want to miss. You've become the kind of person others track subconsciously, the kind they whisper about even when they don't understand what they're sensing. You've stepped into a stage of your life where your presence alone feels like a spoiler for a story no one else has read yet. They don't know the plot, but they can feel the momentum. They can feel the build-up. They can feel the pressure of something coming. People fear what they don't understand. And right now, they don't understand you at all. Not the way you hold your posture, not the way you regulate your expressions, not the way you speak so little yet say so much. They don't understand the way your intuition sharpens the room for you before your logic even catches up. They don't understand how you can be so calm in moments that would unravel them. They don't understand the way your silence carries more authority than their loudest voices. They don't understand how you maintain your boundaries with such effortless precision. They don't understand why their energy changes in your presence, why their ego retreats, why their anxiety activates why their performance starts glitching. You are the psychological disruption their minds never asked for, but can no longer avoid. And here's the paradox that haunts them. The more they watch you, the less they feel like they know you. Every assumption they make contradicts itself. Every narrative they invent dissolves under scrutiny. Every explanation they attempt fails to match the intensity of what they feel around you. You are too intentional to be random, too composed to be lucky, too grounded to be superficial. They can't categorize you because the categories were not built for people like you. They're witnessing someone who embodies contradiction in a way that makes perfect sense. Someone who is soft without being fragile. Someone who is strong without being aggressive. Someone who is quiet without being invisible. Someone who is observant without being intrusive. Someone who is private without being disconnected. Someone who is confident without being performative. You disrupt the binary thinking they rely on to understand the world. You defy the shortcuts their minds use to judge others. You force them to admit that complexity exists outside of books, outside of theory, outside of self-help, quotes they memorized but never embodied. That's why their curiosity aches. You make them question things about themselves they were hoping to ignore. Some wonder how you became this composed. Some wonder how you carry so much without collapsing. Some wonder how you keep winning battles they never even saw you fight. Some wonder if you're aware of the effect you have on people around you. Others simply wonder what it would feel like to live even a single day with your level of self-awareness. And none of them will ever admit it openly. Curiosity wrapped in admiration looks like respect. Curiosity wrapped in insecurity looks like judgment. Curiosity wrapped in envy looks like hostility. Curiosity wrapped in fear looks like avoidance. Curiosity wrapped in desire looks like fascination. But all of them, regardless of the wrapper, are responding to the same core truth. You've become an energy they cannot ignore. You've stepped into a version of yourself that radiates without effort. And when someone radiates naturally, those who rely on artificial light begin to flicker. People will not say this out loud, but they feel the difference between electricity and candlelight. You are electricity. This is why the tension around you is increasing. You disrupt people's calibration. You throw off their internal rhythm. You cause glitching in their emotional software. Even their compliments feel unstable, like they're adjusting mid-sentence because they don't want to overexpose their awe. They speak to you with an unspoken caution, like they're aware they are being measured with a scale they didn't know existed. You don't intimidate them through effort. You intimidate them through accuracy. You read nuance without trying. You catch inconsistencies by instinct. You notice micro-expressions they didn't think anyone saw. Your intuition registers the truth long before your logic constructs a sentence around it. This level of perceptiveness forces people to operate more honestly in your presence. And honesty is uncomfortable for those who hide behind personas. That's why people whisper after you leave a room. That's why some avoid eye contact. That's why others stare too intensely, hoping to decipher something you haven't revealed. You are the unspoken exam they didn't study for, yet suddenly feel graded by. But the most fascinating part? You don't do any of this intentionally. It's simply the natural consequence of someone who has done the internal work that others spend their lives avoiding. You built yourself. You refined yourself. You stripped your ego. You faced your shadows. You learned your patterns. You confronted your cycles. You disciplined your impulses. You cultivated your silence. You mastered your emotional triggers. And now, the world feels the weight of that mastery. People are curious because they don't understand how someone can become whole without validation. They don't understand how someone can rise without spectators. They don't understand how someone can be selective without being arrogant, private without being distant, confident without being loud. Your existence contradicts everything they were told about how power is supposed to look. They were taught that attention is earned through performance. You show them it's earned through presence. They were taught that confidence is displayed through dominance. You show them it's displayed through control. They were taught that respect is demanded through authority. You show them it's given naturally to those who respect themselves. You are the alternative model they weren't prepared to encounter. And alternative models create evolutionary pressure. Their curiosity is not admiration, it's survival instinct. They're studying you because understanding you feels like understanding a future version of themselves. They hope they can still become. You represent potential they silenced. You represent strength they abandoned. You represent boundaries they never learned to enforce. You represent emotional intelligence they never cultivated. You represent the version of them that could have existed had they chosen growth over comfort. This is why they feel exposed next to you. This is why they feel nervous next to you. This is why they feel drawn to you. This is why they feel threatened by you. This is why they feel small or inspired, depending on who they are internally. And here's where things begin shifting into something much bigger. Curiosity does not remain passive. It evolves. It grows roots. It deepens into fixation, reflection, imitation, projection, transformation. People begin reorganizing their behavior around you. They start adjusting their conversations, hoping you'll think they're intelligent. They alter their tone, hoping you'll find them grounded. They shift their values, hoping you'll see them as aligned. They change their posture, hoping you'll view them as confident. They mirror your calm, hoping it makes them more appealing. Your energy becomes a silent instructor. Your presence becomes a psychological template. Your boundaries become a blueprint for theirs. Your composure becomes a standard they try to replicate. And slowly, subconsciously, inevitably, they begin orbiting you. This is not about ego. This is not about arrogance. This is about gravitational reality. Some people radiate stability so strongly that others cling to them like drifting satellites, desperate for direction. But while all of this is happening externally, something else is unfolding beneath the surface, something they cannot see but can already feel. Their curiosity isn't just about who you are today. It's about who you are becoming. They sense expansion coming before you announce it. They sense transformation before you embody it. They sense your momentum and feel the pressure of it in their nervous system. And that pressure will only intensify from here. Because curiosity, once activated at this depth, does not stay curious. It becomes as anticipatory. People begin watching you not to understand who you are now, but to detect the slightest hints of who you are about to become. They study your stillness. They study your silence. They study the gaps between your words. They examine the way your eyes move as if every glance is a coded message. They interpret your energy shifts like seismologists predicting an earthquake. Fully aware that something is brewing beneath the surface but unable to grasp the scale of it. You've stepped into a chapter of your life where people sense your evolution before you speak it. Your energy has a prelude, a foreshadowing, a quiet rumble signaling that a new version of you is forming. And that forming terrifies them in ways they don't have the vocabulary to articulate. They can feel the buildup of momentum in your presence, like standing near a storm that hasn't yet broken open, but already rearranges the air. You are the atmospheric tension they cannot ignore, the impending shift they cannot explain. And because humans fear the unknown more than anything, their curiosity deepens into obsession. They watch because they can sense that the version of you they once understood, the version they once felt comfortable categorizing, is dissolving into something too expansive, too intentional, too self-assured to fit inside the mental boxes they built for you. You are shedding an entire era of your identity, and people can feel it. Their instincts are sounding alarms. Their subconscious is heightening its awareness. Their attention is locking onto you with a precision that even they don't recognize in themselves. They don't know whether to approach, withdraw, admire, or fear. So instead they stare, they analyze, they hover in the liminal space between fascination and intimidation. And as you evolve, you create a psychological gap, a widening distance between who you were and who you are becoming. This gap confuses people. It destabilizes them. It makes them question their understanding, not just of you, but of themselves. They feel outdated next to you, not because you changed overnight, but because they stopped changing long before you even began. You are accelerating while they're stationary. You are expanding while they're looping through the same internal scripts. You are shedding layers they're still clinging to, and the contrast exposes the stagnation they've been avoiding. This is why their eyes linger longer now, why their conversations sound more cautious, why their energy feels more reactive around you. You represent the reminder that growth is possible, a reminder they resent because it highlights their own refusal to evolve. Your transformation is their mirror, and every step you take forward reflects the steps they never took. They can't look at you without feeling the weight of their own potential pressing against them like a truth they tried to bury. People are curious because you are becoming the person they once believed they had time to become themselves. This is why the attention is no longer passive, it's active, alert, tracking. You walk into a room and people pause mid-thought. You speak and conversations recalibrate. You express a boundary and people adjust their tone instantly. You offer a simple observation and it reshapes the emotional atmosphere. You withdraw your energy and people feel the absence like a shift in temperature. You are no longer just a person in the environment. You are the variable that determines the environment. And here's the part they don't want to admit. Your evolution isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not chaotic. It's controlled, refined, and deliberate. That's what unnerves them the most. People are accustomed to messy transformations, breakdowns, emotional explosions, sudden changes, dramatic reinventions. But your transformation is different. It's subtle, elegant, intelligent. It doesn't scream for attention. It pulls attention. It doesn't demand validation. It creates validation. You rise quietly, and quiet rises are the most dangerous because no one sees the strategy until the results are unavoidable. Your growth has become a phenomenon in their reality. Not metaphorically, energetically, emotionally, psychologically. You influence the emotional climate of the spaces you enter. People perform differently around you because being near you activates dormant parts of their awareness. They speak with more caution because your presence highlights their inconsistencies. They listen more deeply because your energy encourages clarity. They behave with more restraint because your boundaries remind them of their own lack of self-respect. You're not trying to change people, but your presence forces them to confront themselves. This is the real reason you have so many eyes on you right now. You are a catalyst, and catalysts make people uncomfortable. You accelerate their self-reflection. You amplify their insecurities. You intensify their desires. You remind them of what they haven't done. You highlight the truth behind their masks. You expose the fragility behind their confidence. And the human ego does not know how to handle someone who is both a mirror and a mystery. But this curiosity, the kind that feels like surveillance, analysis, fascination, and fear wrapped together, always evolves into something else when a person continues to rise. It starts as observation, then it becomes speculation, then it becomes projection, then it becomes agitation, then it becomes fixation, then it becomes a narrative people obsess over because they know they are witnessing the development of someone who is stepping into a higher tier of existence. People can sense when someone is about to outgrow the roles they were assigned. They can feel when someone is entering a season of elevation that will leave others behind. They can sense that your life is about to pivot in a way that redefines your identity. They don't know the details, but they can feel the shift in your aura, the sharpening in your focus, the grounding in your energy. They feel like they're watching the prelude to something important, something that will change how they remember you. And because they cannot name what that something is, their curiosity goes feral. They start monitoring your smallest changes, the way you dress, the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you withdraw, the way you appear, the way you disappear. They watch for signs the way people watch the sky before a storm, aware that something is building, unsure what form it will take, but certain that once it arrives, no one will be able to pretend they didn't see it coming. Your growth puts pressure on people. It applies weight to their subconscious. It exposes their limitations not through confrontation, but through contrast. And when people feel that kind of internal pressure, they react. Some rise with it. Others crumble beneath it. Some admire you. Others envy you. Some support you. Others gossip. Some seek proximity. Others create distance. But all of them watch. Because deep down, they recognize a truth they are too afraid to admit. You are becoming the person they secretly hoped would never exist. Someone who proves that excellence is not gifted, but built. Someone who proves that self-respect changes everything. Someone who proves that quiet confidence can outrank loud performance. Someone who proves that discipline creates results that natural talent alone cannot produce. Someone who proves that a person can rise without permission. And that realization shakes them. It shakes their self-image. It shakes their hierarchy. It shakes their comfort. It shakes their delusions. It shakes the illusion that life will reward them simply for existing. This is why the eyes on you are not leaving. They're multiplying. People aren't watching you out of interest anymore. They're watching you out of necessity. They're watching you because ignoring you would mean ignoring the proof that they could have been more than they allowed themselves to become. You are their contradiction. You are their reminder. You are their unanswered question. You are the living proof that growth is not a myth. But here is where the curiosity becomes something else entirely, something deeper, something more existential. People begin to wonder not just how you became who you are, but how far you're going to go. They sense your potential like a vibration in the air. They sense your trajectory like a force pulling the environment forward. You have entered a phase where your future is louder than your past, and people can feel it. Your presence holds the energy of someone who hasn't even revealed their final form yet. Someone who has barely tapped into their full strength. Someone who is still unfolding, still sharpening, still refining. People feel the momentum building inside you, and it terrifies them because they know that if this is how powerful your presence is now, the future version of you will be unavoidable, unignorable, uncontainable. You've become the cliffhanger in their psychological storyline. They're watching, waiting, anticipating the moment when your evolution becomes impossible for them to keep up with. And some of them already know that moment is approaching. They can feel the distance widening. They can feel the elevation happening. They can feel your energy shifting into a new state of being. And that awareness triggers something primal in them. The fear of becoming irrelevant in the presence of someone who keeps rising. This is the final transformation of curiosity. Curiosity becomes reverence. Reverence becomes tension. Tension becomes surrender. Because when someone rises far enough, those who once watched out of judgment begin to watch out of admiration. Those who once whispered begin to fall silent. Those who once envied begin to study. Those who once resisted begin to accept. Those who once doubted begin to bow, internally, if not externally. You are stepping into an era where people's curiosity will no longer be about your past, your personality, or your demeanor. Their curiosity will shift toward one question. How is this person becoming this powerful this quietly? And once they realize the answer, that your power comes from self-respect, discipline, solitude, alignment, intention, and emotional intelligence, they will understand that nothing about your rise was accidental. Every part of your presence was earned. You didn't become magnetic, you became authentic. And authenticity attracts more intensely than performance ever could. People are not curious about you because you're mysterious. People are curious because you're real in a world addicted to artificiality. And when real rises, the world must recalibrate. You are the recalibration. The eyes on you right now aren't just watching your behavior, they're witnessing your becoming. And whether they admit it or not, they know one thing with terrifying clarity. This is only the beginning of what you're about to be. Your evolution is not slowing. Your presence is not shrinking. Your power is not fading. Your influence is not accidental. People are deeply curious for one reason. Your energy is announcing a version of you that even you have not fully met yet. And when that version arrives, the world watching you now will remember this moment as the quiet before the undeniable. You have a lot of eyes on you right now, and soon they won't just be watching. They'll be witnessing the rise that recalibrates everything they thought they understood. This is your emergence. This is your becoming. This is your inevitability. And the world is only now beginning to realize it.